Hello everyone, Sebastian Lucido here. Welcome to Headline and Prophecy. Today I want to talk to you about Turkey and the nation of Turkey. First I want to explain that Turkey is a part of NATO. NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was formed right after World War II. 10 founding members founded that organization. Now we're up to 30. Countries like US, France, Canada, Greece, Spain, Netherlands, Portugal, UK, Belgium, Denmark, Romania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and there's others that are a part of NATO. NATO's primary mandate is the joint alliance to guarantee security for members. So they act as one. If you attack one NATO nation, you attack them all. And so they promote democracy. They act as peacekeepers around the world. And so there's great protection. It was structured and set up really to protect its members against the Soviet Union. Right after World War II, Russia, the Soviet Union, was our ally. But right after they went toward world domination, we could see where Stalin was taking them. And so we set up NATO, and so it was to promote democracy and to protect each other. So that if Russia came into one of the founding members, or any of the members, all of the members would gang up together. So they have a military, mostly peacekeepers, but there's a joint military alliance between us. Here's the issue. Turkey is a part of NATO. Last week in the news, it was in the Jerusalem Post and some other publications, Turkey signed a military alliance with Russia, where Turkey would obtain submarines, warships, military armaments, and get satellite technology from Russia. Now, when it comes to Bible prophecy, I've been teaching for 40 years. There's a war in Ezekiel chapter 38, and it's laid out very clearly in Ezekiel 38. Let me find it in my Bible, and I'll take you there. So in Ezekiel 38, I'll read it to you and give you the definition as we go. These nations that I'm going to read are Noah's grandchildren, and so there's extensive studies about where they settled. So Noah's sons, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren settled in different parts of the world, and nations were formed around them. So I'll give you, as we go through it, I'll explain it to you. Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog. That simply means end-time leader. The prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. So he gives us three names. Rosh, again, is a grandchild of Noah. Meshach and Tubal are as well. And they are Russia. This is Russia. Tubal is actually a city still named the same. Gary Powers, the U-2 pilot, the U.S. U-2 pilot, was shot down there in the early 60s. Meshach is the original name of Moscow. Muscovy, Moscow. Rosh, the Rusians, and Russia. So it's Russia. And say, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I am against you, O Gog, prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. I will turn you around, put a hook in your jaw, and lead you out with all of your armies, horses, horsemen, all splendidly clothed, a great company with bucklers, shields, and all of them handling swords. So talking about Russia here, but he says, I put a hook in your jaw, and I'm leading you out. So God is actually bringing them reluctantly into this war that I'm going to explain to you. Now here's the other part of the alliance. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia and Libya. If you look at a map, Ethiopia and Libya are northern Africa. So it's Ethiopia, Libya, and Sudan, that whole area of northern Africa, are with them with shields and helmets. Gomer land is part of Eastern Europe and part of the Soviet states. So when you look at Gomer land, it's the old Soviet states which are predominantly Muslim, and part of Eastern Europe which is Muslim. And then the House of Togarmah. The House of Togarmah is Turkey, from the far north, and its troops and many people with you. So these nations, Russia, Turkey, Iran, Northern Africa, I believe Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran all come together against Israel. This is in Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 37 and 38 are chronological. Ezekiel 37 is where the nation of Israel comes back together from nations of the earth. This happened in 1948. The reason we know it's 1948, at no other time in history was Israel dispersed throughout the earth. That happened in 70 AD when the Romans took it over. So if you go back in time, Israel as a nation, as a group of people, went from a couple to a family, Abraham's family, to a nation, which was taken captive by the first, which was Pharaoh. When they came out, then the Babylonians took them captive, led them off to what would be modern-day Iraq. And then after them, the Medo-Persians, which was Iran, took them over. And then the Greeks went in and invaded Israel. And then the Romans came in and invaded Israel. Even in the time of Jesus, Rome was in charge. But in 70 AD, they destroyed the city and the temple, and they dispersed the Jews throughout the earth. In 1948, they started coming back into the land of Israel. We sponsored them as a nation on May 14, 1948. So they had been coming into the nation for 40, 50 years before. We recognized them as a nation on May 14, 1948. And so they've been a nation. In 1967, they took over the boundaries that we see today. They took on Golan Heights, which is up by Syria, the West Bank, which is on the west bank of the Jordan River, which abuts up to Jordan, and then the Gaza Strip, which is down by Egypt. That happened in the Six-Day War. And so they've been together. So this war, Ezekiel 38, comes, and what happens is Russia, Iran, Turkey, Syria, Northern Africa, as I said, the Sudan, Libya, and Syria and some of the old Soviet states, Uzbekistan and some of those, will join together with Pakistan, I believe, and Afghanistan now, and with Turkey, and invade Israel, and they'll be destroyed by us and Israel. We will side with Israel. Canada, New Zealand, the UK, US will side with Israel, and 5/6 of their armies will be destroyed. They'll be decimated. I believe this is the next prophetic event. What happens as a result of this is what you have left in Islam are mostly moderate states like Jordan and Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Oman. So these moderate states, I believe, will allow Israel to build the temple because they've signed normalization agreements. So here's the thing, after 40 years, the nations have been aligned, but Turkey has been this oddball. So Turkey, in the last 30 days, has signed a military alliance with the enemy of NATO, being a NATO member. So they're getting warships, they're getting submarines and armament, not from NATO members, but from NATO's enemy, Russia. And so when you look at this is very telling, because now the things are lining up and coming together. Erdogan, who is the president of Turkey, wants to go back to the caliphate. The caliphate was a time period, I don't know what it was, 400 or 500 years. It ended in 1917 with the Armenian genocide. Turkey killed 1 million Armenians, very similar to what Hitler did. And it ended the caliphate. The caliphate was Islam controlling Jerusalem. So they controlled Jerusalem. They were the protectors. The Turkish Guard and the Turkish army were the protectors of Jerusalem all the way until 1917. And Erdogan, its current president, is very, very, very fundamental Islamic. He's very radical in his thinking. Although he plays nice with the world, he pops out every once in a while. We see his true colors. Well, we're starting to see his true colors today. He wants a caliphate. He wants to take over Jerusalem. There are many that think he's the Antichrist. I don't. I believe this war happens before, and it sets the stage to build a temple and then I believe Antichrist will come as a result of that peace agreement. So look for a war in Israel. I believe it's in this decade, and I believe because Turkey has switched sides, it's going to move along a little quicker. So if you're not part of our ministry, please become a part. We teach every Tuesday General Bible Study at 7 p.m. Eastern. We put up Revelations verse by verse every Thursday morning. It's called Line Upon Line. We're doing the book of Revelations first. And then every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I teach eschatology or end time class at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So you'll get notes to all of those teachings. It's free. You'll have access to all of our curriculums on our website. And then also you'll get our uncensored blog emailed to you every Friday on headlines and news. This is meant for the censors. So you'll get that emailed to you by becoming a member. It's free. Naturally, we're looking for sponsors, donors, partners to help us in our effort to get people prepared, alert, and ready for what's ahead. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I'll see you next Friday or next Monday for headlines.